Well, hello, hello, hello. A very good Friday evening to you, and welcome to Friday Night Linux. And what we're going to be doing today is looking at a Xubuntu derivative, if I can say that correctly. Always gets my tongue a bit twisted there. Derivative? Yeah. You just rewind back there. Anyway, a bit of a Xubuntu... a mirror, I'm going to call it. There we go. That sounds better, doesn't it? Yes. And yeah, so we're going to be looking at today, here on Friday Night Linux Live, Freespire 7.5, which was released this week. Now, a little bit of a background history about Freespire is that really the last major release it had was a few years back. But lately it has sprung into a bit of an LTS branch. So I'm guessing probably the reason for the less actions in terms of development, let's put it that way, is more likely to the fact that they needed to bring it up to 20.04 as the 16.04 and the 18.04 LTSs become end of life. At some point. I know 16.04 definitely well and truly now is end of life there. So welcome along to Friday Night Linux Live. I am your host, Digital Robin here, and I'm with you for a short whilst we have a little look around this distribution. I have already installed this on my ThinkPad laptop. And for those that do not already know, I have got here now running this as a locally installed distribution. It's running the XFCE 4.16 latest release, which I'm incredibly pleased about. And we are, so I understand it now, upgraded on the 5.8 kernel. And we are also now looking at a distribution which is very lightweight, and the download itself, what was it actually? We'll take a look at it in a minute. I think it was just about 1.8 gigs, and managed to get that onto a USB quite easily, and I booted it up perfectly, no issues there. So I'm running an Intel Core i5, and it is running on 24 gigs of RAM, so plenty of beef for it to have a little play with here today. I will be probably tomorrow giving this a spin on my production machine, purely for the basis just to see what it will perform like on an AMD processor. In fact, it's an AMD FX 4100, which is I think I've had this over 10 years now. Yeah, definitely. I think I got the machine in 2011, didn't I? Yeah, 10 years now. So yeah, I mean, it's for an old processor like that running a quad core. I'm expecting to see this one just speed along quite nicely. Given the fact that I do love XFCE as my desktop environments with each distribution that I test out. It's always my favourite. I don't know why. I always end up coming back to XFCE regardless. And so no matter what happens, I'm sure I am going to enjoy taking a look around this distribution here today. So why am I on Freespire? What possessed me to even give it a spin and a try here today on this live walkthrough? Well, for one, I started thinking, what is it? I read up about it on distrowatch.com and took to the website, which, if we take a look-see, is very lightweight, very basic on a kind of, 800 by 600 kind of style resolution. Very basic. I mean, you've got news about the release, which is on 7.5. That's what we're going to be looking at here today. We're taking a look at what they have actually put into this latest release. They have fixed and upgraded the XFCE desktop environment to obviously 4.16, and of course they've now applied all the patches that were available to them. They've fixed the kernel 5.4, that's been upgraded to the latest version. I am told that the kernel is either 5.4 or 5.8 on this release, so we'll take a look at that in a few moments. It says it's got fixed AirPods support as well, so they managed to find a way to somehow get the Bluetooth working properly on this one here. But here in this distribution, we are now looking at kernel 5.4, Synaptic Package Manager. Now this is an interesting one. So there's no sort of Flatpak or GNOME Software Center installed in this distribution. Just to point out before I begin, I have had to install Snap onto this build in order so I can get the latest version of OBS downloaded. For those with eagle eyes upon you, you can see from the taskbar I have got OBS version 26.1.2 up and running on this one with no issue so far. It detected my graphics drivers, and I've had no issues so far with screen flicker, and yep, it's all working superbly so far. So touch wood, let's hope nothing else goes wrong here today in this test. We've got the latest Firefox browser. We'll take a look at what version we've got there as well. Should be on version 88. Thunderbird, I think, what are they on now? 76. We'll take a look at that as well. K-Patience, never heard of that. Dream Chess, yep, that's a nice chess program. I'm not a chess person myself, but we'll see how how the chess people among you can get along with that one there. Abbey Word, as you know, is a text editor. Enables you to, I think you can look at PDF documents through that. Numeric, with a silent G. GDebi, which is your, obviously, Debi package manager. So if you download any .deb file, then you can use GDebi to install that. So we're going to give an installation a try on that one as I download Microsoft Edge. A lot of people are going, oh no, why? No. Actually, I'll tell you now, Edge has come a long way on the beta builds. So we'll take a look at that. And yes, they have moved into beta now. So they are now no longer just purely on their dev branch, which they update, what, every 6 weeks or so, I think? Yeah. But they're now on beta, so we'll take a look at that in a short while. Color Paint is your paint package. Parole and Rhythmbox for your music player. Other music players are available at your discretion and your own risk. You may obviously go ahead and download that there. Plus also they have installed numerous amounts of security patches here as well. So on the homepage, this is what I absolutely like. You've got the links to download the ISO and obviously your checksum as well, where you can go and check that the ISO is valid and works perfectly fine. I've already run that through, and I can tell you now proof that it is running the LTS branch of 20.04 on the Ubuntu base there. So I know for a fact I am getting a very good release with this one here. Personally, I don't use any of these links, but for the purpose of this demonstration here tonight, I have checked to see that I have a valid ISO here, and I do. Now, obviously, this distribution is entirely free and open source. Do with it as you like. You can theme it as you like. You can play around with it as you like. Download software as you like. It's all open source, of course. But just to point out that if nice and you do like it, then yeah, why not just put your hand in your pocket and offer the guys a small donation there to enable the project along further with more and more development there. So yeah, so again, Robin, why are you on this distribution here tonight? Well, for starters, when I booted up the live ISO, it just wowed me. Why did it wow me? Well, it's because I've been testing so many XFCE 4.16 releases of late that They've all been looking different. Not themed all that great, personally. I think the only XFCE 4.16 build so far that I feel has kind of got it right in terms of theming is Xubuntu. Definitely Endeavour OS. And Manjaro. When you look at vanilla XFCE, it's still got a lot of work ahead of it, I think. But no disrespect to the XFCE team. They are brilliant. They've done a fantastic job with the 4.16 release. I have no quibbles about that one. But yeah, it's really down to the distributions themselves to, you know, push it out in terms of how they want it to look and feel. But vanilla XFCE 4.16, there's no real issue here. But anyway, yeah, so I looked at this release and on first impressions, I don't know. I saw this at first and immediately my eye thought Windows 7. Probably because of the blue and the kind of gradient swirls amongst us here. But then I started looking around thinking, what else is drawing me to this release? And I'm looking at the panels. The panels are just laid out perfectly. So we got a panel 1 at the top. Let's say this is panel 2 if you think about it. And panel 1 down here in the bottom is running the main controls. So obviously you've got your taskbar buttons here, your launchers. Here is the window button. So these are the 3 windows that I've got open at the moment. And you've got your menu, or your whisker menu, if I click into that. So there's your whisker menu. And that's been beautifully tidied up, I think. I think while I've got this open, I am just going to take one look at the appearance and see what theme they are running. So they are running Arc Dark. And icon set Papyrus. Yeah, there we go. 2 of my main beautiful themes. Lovely. And let's just take a look at the where are we? Window Manager. And it's here you can see they're running Arc Dark and they're using the Noto Sans Bold on 9 points. And looking at this on my HDMI input on my IPS screen here, it's razor sharp. It's gorgeous. I've never seen this XFCE build look anything as beautiful as this. So thank you to the team at Freespire for this. And you're giving it a dark theme as well. Yes. As its default. Everybody loves dark themes these days, don't they? Anyway, so would you say this looks like Windows 10? No. So, if I was to show this to a first timer that was coming across from Windows into Linux, I think it's a great starter for them, to be perfectly honest. You could look at Xubuntu as well, but I think probably, you know, for what you're getting out of the box, this is a great distribution to also try, you know, in comparison with the Xubuntus as well. So before I take a look at anything else, let me now bring up a terminal. So let's see if I can get a Control-Alt-T to work. Beautiful. Now the theming of the terminal is very light. Cool, I would say, but it's, you know, it's not too annoying on the eye. I'm just going to do a Shift Control Plus on this one to zoom in a bit now so you can see what I'm about to do. So let's now take a look at some of the specs. So we do a uname-a on this one, and we can see that we are running kernel 5.4. I was right about that one. And it's Ubuntu, and I'm running this on 64-bit. So let's take a look at the release details. So if I do an LSB release-a, and you can see that we are running Freespire version 7.5 on the Focal Fossa build. That's the 20.04 LTS build of Ubuntu. So let's just clear that now. Right. Now, I believe I've already done it, because I played with this a bit earlier on today, but you don't get NeoFetch out of the box. So if this works, apologise, it's because I've already installed it. No, it hasn't. Okay, brilliant. Right, so let's take a look at some of the specs. So first of all, let's do a sudo apt install NeoFetch. And enter in my password. And we say yes to that. And we will see what that says when we load it up. There we go. Right, so NeoFetch. Okay, so bearing in mind I've got OBS running and I'm doing a live record and I'm streaming, you can hear just about the fan on the laptop is going because it's obviously using its internal GPU for this one. But 3.4 gigs out of my 24 is not bad at all, I think. So if I stopped streaming right now and I closed down OBS and I closed down Firefox and just left it idle for a minute, we should see the memory usage drop to just below a gig, which should be absolutely perfect for this one here. I'm not running this in a virtual machine, by the way. I am running it dual screen at this present moment in time on actual hardware. So that's why, if you look at the resolution, you can see I've got two different resolutions there. So the laptop being 1366 by 768, and then you've got the HD feed, which is obviously my main screen at 1920 by 1080. So that's the specs on NeoFetch, and if I do a screen fetch, if that one is installed, also, that one's not installed. Okay, brilliant. So again, sudo apt install screen fetch. Should be able to see similar specifications. There we go, 3832. So yeah, 3.8 gigs on the RAM there. Not bad at all. Okay. So what would I do now, first of all, before I start taking a look around the distribution? I just need to see if there's any updates available. So we will do a sudo apt update on this one. Run the password. Whoops. No, that's not the password. That's something else I was doing there. I spelled sudo wrong, didn't I? Why did I type that? I must be thinking about an ice cream. There we go. Packages are up to date. I am also going to do a sudo pkcon update. Now what this will do is it will update the packages in the back end. And I've got no packages that require updating to newer versions, which is brilliant. So I'm all up to date now. I don't need to run a sudo apt upgrade, which is brilliant. So looking at this now, let's have a look at the memory usage on this one. So currently it says that we are using 2.5 gigs with 14 free, and we are running on 892 as shared. It's looking good. Okay, what's the other one we're going to run here? Is it L? There it is, L. So it's been set up as a swap partition also as well. So I didn't do any of the manual processes, by the way, during the installation. So it's worth just pointing out that it uses the current Ubuntu installer, and it will install as if you were installing Ubuntu. And when it got around to asking me which disk and what kind of setup I wanted, then I just told it to go with the secondary hard disk on the machine and then just run its usual installation. When it then booted up and I got onto a grub screen, it found I had Windows installed on the primary drive. So now I've got a dual boot set up on this laptop here. This laptop, by the way, is running 128 gigs on an M.2. That's got my Windows installation on it, and I am running 256 gig on a secondary SSD, which has got this installation on here today. So anybody thinking about installing Linux for the first time, either you want to follow some of the tips and hints you can find on many YouTube videos out there about how to partition your Windows drive so that you can separate it out and then dual boot basically. Follow those steps there. Personally, I would recommend a secondary hard disk if you can do that on your desktops or your laptops. What that will mean is basically if you are currently using Windows and you are on the newer builds, you'll probably find that you do, like myself, have an M.2 as your primary drive and you've got a secondary SSD or a spinning hard disk as your secondary, which you store all your data on. So basically that setup, what I did is I whipped out the data drive, put in another drive, and I installed Linux on it. So now I've got the two running side by side. Again, loads of hints and tips out there if you need to know how to do so. So these specs look good so far. I think I have got myself a really good distribution here. What else should we start? So let's take a look and see if we've got Office and many other great applications installed. So we take a look at the menu, and under accessories, we've got the standard XFCE builds of software in there. So you've got your font manager, your Catfish file search, archive manager, calculator, mousepad text editor, terminal. I've not seen Worker, that's a new one. But if you like to still burn CDs and DVDs, you've got XF Burn available to you there. Another great application to have on your machine there. Games, you have got Dream Chess and K-Patience. So K-Patience to me looks like Solitaire. Yes, it is a Solitaire card game. And of course you've got a 3D chess game as well. This I do like. It's a minimal install. Yeah, so you're not bombarded by bloatware on there. So feel free to uninstall those if you don't want to have those on your machine. Under graphics, I can see that we've got a document scanner, document viewer. That's great to have. You've got color paint, which is a paint package. Image viewer, and you've got Shotwell as well, which is another way to organize your photos. Internet, you get Firefox web browser installed by default. So if I take a look at a new Firefox window here, I am going to now check out which version of Firefox we have from the help and about menus. And we are currently running on 88.0.1 on their 64-bit build. There's no upgrade available to us at this stage, so currently the latest build of 88 is what we have here. Also, we've got Thunderbird, so we'll take a look at what version we have here. So Thunderbird is your mail client. That I have to say, believe it or not, this new version of Thunderbird is absolutely brilliant. They've definitely nailed the UI on this one. We're running 78.8.1. In fact, that's upgraded quite a bit since last I used it, so it's good signs that the developers out there are doing their thing to keep on modifying that client. Your file manager, let's see what type of file manager we've got. Have we got Thunar or have we got Nemo? Oh, you can't really tell from this because there is no menu bar. So how can I do a view from this one and see what I've got running? Now, I've not seen this happen to me before now. What do we got? There's no way of me telling from this, is there? Yeah, so where is the menu bar? Yeah. Well, it's not a bug. But worth me just trying to find out where it's gone, but I won't be able to find it here. No, because there's no properties or way to edit and see what the views are. So I suppose in a way that's a good thing. But let me just see if it is Thunar. I'm just going to see if I can launch Thunar. Yeah, it must be Thunar. Let's see if Nemo is there. Nemo's not installed. Okay. It won't be Nautilus because it's not GNOME. So it's definitely Thunar. Again, I can't tell what version of Thunar is. So, what is it? Do I just say... was it Thunar version? Let's see what it says. Just says 4.16.8. Okay. So there's your file manager, which is always a pleasure to see. So we've done that. Multimedia. So here we've got your XF Burn, Pulse Audio volume controls, your Parole media player. Again, other media players are available to you, but you need to install those. And your default player here is Parole. I've installed OBS through Snap, so that's the reason why you see that there. Cheese is your webcam software, and Audacious is another way to listen and organize your music. Under the Office, well, this is good to know. You do not see LibreOffice offered to you as your default Office suite, so you will have to install that one. But you've got Numeric, which is, I suppose, a calculation tool. Document Viewer, which enables you to read and view PDFs. You've got a dictionary, and of course, you can compose, edit, and view documents in Abbey Word. Looking at settings, always a pleasure to see that you can go and find additional drivers as well. So if you are on NVIDIA, then like I will be tomorrow when I test this out on my production base, then I will install and go for additional drivers and see if I can get the latest 460 driver from that. What else we got? It's Appearance. So this is where you set your themes, and because it's now XFCE 4.16, you can download extra themes and you can then add them in through this option here. So that's Appearance. You've got your boot repair. Always good to see that there. So if there's a problem with the grub, then if you can at least get booted in, then you can use the boot repair option to repair where it finds obviously Windows and the Linux install. Color profiles is to do with your monitors. Default applications, here is where you can set your default web browser and mail reader utilities as well. You've got your file managers. Okay, so there it is. So even if you did install Nemo, then you can tell this distribution to use Nemo as your default file manager from this window here. And you can set other default applications. Right, okay. And then we go into obviously display. You can do your monitor setup, keyboard. Now let's have a look under keyboard. Is keyboard shortcuts there? Application shortcuts. Okay, excellent. Now, do we have a shortcut to be able to open up the whisker menu? So if I press the super key, window key on my keyboard, nothing is happening. So that suggests that we don't have the menu shortcut set up. So to do this, we go to Add, and rather than type it in, I'm going to search for it. I do know the command, but I just want to show you how to do that. I'm just going to type in XFCE. that then filters this list down. And what I'm looking for is XFCE pop-up whisker menu. There it is there. So I've selected it and I'm going to click open. Now that is there. Yep, so the command is that you need to know it's got to be in your user directory, your bin XFCE for pop-up whisker. Click OK, and now it says press your shortcut key. So in this case, I'm going to press the window key. That now becomes my super key. Just checking the layout, we are using English UK. Yep, so that picked it up during the installation process. Marvellous. So now if I press the window key, ta-da! I have my menu back. Wonderful. Right, so what else have we got here? So, yeah. I suppose we would just take one look at HTOP. HTOP is installed. There's some information missing here. Why have I got no details about the memory and the swap that I'm using? There's no figures. Okay. Alright, maybe that's an extra setting I need to sort out there. Anyway, let's take a look at the desktop wallpapers, shall we? So if I go right click and I go into desktop settings, let's see what we got. Oh, nice. We got a nice selection of papers here. So let's take a look at what we get. Ooh, there's a night light. Not sure why they're using the plasma desktops. This red one, okay, looks great. Lots of distributions now going for this sort of triangular look. But you know me, I am a lover of my pink and my blues. So that one would definitely relax me as I use this distribution here. But I mean, look at these wallpapers. They are absolutely gorgeous, aren't they? Hey! Why have they got the deep blue sea wallpaper from Windows? Look at that. Yes, I know. It's from Windows 10. Are they allowed to do that? Is that free and open source? I suppose it makes people feel right at home if they want to migrate across from Windows. Oh, that's nice. But I think this might be my go-to wallpaper for now. Look at that. I like the colours in that. So relaxing. So we'll leave it at that wallpaper for now. But it's worth pointing out that if you did want to obviously use your own wallpapers, then you need to, from the folder, just choose where to locate those pictures from. So in most cases, you've got a wallpapers folder under pictures. If you were to use a third-party tool such as Unsplash, Bing, Variety, or Fondo, for example, then when you download those wallpapers, they will just like disappear into the ether, and you're going to have to manually find where they are located on your hard drive. So there's no getting XFCE to automatically pick that up. You need to tell it where to find those pictures. So when you do download these third-party applications, then do bear in mind that you will have to set your default download location, and then you can tell XFCE where to find those pictures. Beautiful, isn't it? I'm just spotting that there is quite a gap between the task shortcuts here and the main window buttons, so I'm going to sort that annoyance out now. So let me just come into the taskbar down here, the panel, right click, go into panel, and go into panel preferences, and then we go to items, and here is our problem straight away. They have put in their 5 separators. Why on earth did they do that? Let's take some out. I would say, to me, that is very annoying. In fact, I'm going to remove them all. one more to go. Excellent. Right. So while we've got the panel open now, I would like to be able to put some extra details into panel... Where are we? Yeah, panel 1, which is the panel that we're on here now. So currently we have got the show desktop icon, which you can see down here in the bottom right hand corner. Always a good place to have it. Most people have it in the bottom left also as well. I'm going to click add, and I'm just going to see what additional plugins that we get with this release. So for me to properly test that the XFCE goodies is installed already, is I look for a plugin called Census. I've just typed Census and it's not there. So let me see if the weather applet is there. Now the weather applet is, which shocks me a little bit, because normally it's part of the XFCE goodie pack, which you don't see. So let's just now close that, and the weather applet is where I want it to be, but I just need to swap with the show desktop. So I'll just select it and I will bring show desktop down. Incidentally, you can use this tool here to organize the shortcuts. And I am now going to click onto weather update and click on the hamburger type icon here to edit the plugin. And you can see from here it has already detected my location of Rochester in the UK, which is perfect. And if I click into units, I can see that I am already on UK Celsius, using PSI as my pressure reading, miles per hour for my wind speed, precipitation in inches. I like to see that in millimeters actually, because of the rain. Yeah, when you get drizzle, it does build up. But yeah, if you see it in inches, that just makes it look like you've had a lot of rain. Altitude in feet, that is perfect. Appearance, now here we can tell this plugin, well, if you're in a dark mode like we are at the moment, then ideally that should be on liquid dark. So let me just select liquid dark from this list here. There we go. And the eagle eyes amongst you would have seen that the icon has appeared in the bottom right hand corner and did do a minor switch into dark mode. It's not pulling through any of the temperature details at this stage, so I will need to go and set those. So to do that, I click onto scroll box and I'm going to set my temperature. So just highlight temperature and click add. Now you can see I've got the temperature appear as 9 Celsius. A little bit chilly tonight. In fact, I will say, where are we? Middle of May. Why are we still seeing chilly days of about 10 or 12 degrees? It's ridiculous. We've got what, roughly about 5 or 6 weeks before we hit actual summer, meteorological summer. And as the calendar goes, where are we? So we got 1, 2. So we are 3 weeks away from actual summer, meteorologically speaking. Yeah. And we've still got these chilly sort of autumnal feeling days. The trees aren't liking it either, I've noticed, but no doubt as the sun starts to shine in the coming weeks, if it does, then we'll get a nice full bloom of leaves. Anyway, I'm slipping into my gardening mode there now. So let me see what else I can select. So I'm going to select wind speed. I'm going to add wind direction. And I'm going to do humidity. The apparent temperature. And look at the cloud. So rather than do low, medium or high, I just like to see how much level of cloud there is outside. So I do cloudiness. And not really foggy at the moment, but we do get the odd fog day here or there, so I'd like to see if there is some fog about. And finally, precipitation. I'll add that. Now what I'm going to do is bring the precipitation up in the list, so I just select that and I click move up. And I'm going to bring that in with the... In fact, I'll do it within the window. Yeah, the winds, that's fine. That's fine. So if you are happy with that, then obviously if you look now down here in the bottom right hand corner, you can see that it is animating nicely between the labels. If you don't want it to do that, you can see it's very cloudy at the moment, 100%. You can uncheck this box here where it says animate transitions, and that will just flick through nicely. So it should, there it goes, it's done it, yeah. But personally I like to see it animate, so I know it's regularly being updated. So happy with that. You can change your font as well as if you wanted to, but I'll keep it to the default. I'm going to close that down now. So yeah, so in terms of the extras, let me close this down now. So let me bring up a terminal and come up to the root, and I'm just now going to do a sudo apt install and bring through the XFCE for goodies. In fact, I just noticed you can't see that, can you? There you go. Enter in my password. Do I want to install these extra packages? Of course I do. And there we go, that's done. So I'll just do a quick sudo apt update on those to refresh the packages. There we go, nicely. We can then exit out of that terminal. And now if I do a right click on the panel and go into panel preferences again, and under items, I should now be able to add. We've got some extras now appearing. So I can add in now my sensors. There it is, the sensor plugin. And of course, yeah, the first notice that it works is the fact that I've got this kind of notification come up, which I can just click. So Census now is ready for me down here in the bottom right hand corner, but I don't want it there, and I don't want it to just say sensors. I want to actually display some information. So I'm going to go into panel preferences again, items, and I'm just going to move the plugin to there. There we go, before the weather update. I'm going to add in another separator actually. There we go. I can see partly why they put in these extra separators, so that you can just move them around. So I want that separator to be between the sensor and the weather, I think. Is that right? Where is my sensor gone? Oh, yes, I was moving the wrong one, that's why. I wasn't moving the one I actually just added. There we go, perfect. Now if I just double click the separator, I can tell it to be a handle, or I will just use it as transparent. And you can see now that that has put a nice gap between the sensor and the weather applet. So we click onto the sensor plugin and go into the properties. And if I just bring this up here, so we have got from the sensors type here the hardware that's installed on my machine here, which basically gets, you know, monitored for its temperatures. So what I like to do is use ThinkPad 0 for my one here, or I can just go with the core temperature. If I do ThinkPad 0, then that will actually do the temperature of the entire machine. So you can see here I've got my fans running at their right temperatures. You can see that my CPU at the moment is running at a good 70 Celsius, which feels quite warm. Yes, it's warm, but you know, it can handle temperatures of 96, I think, before it starts to ball out on me. But just to see the differences in the temperature, so if I did core temperature, yeah, so we're still around the 70 mark. What am I running? I'm running a dual core by the looks of it here, that's why I'm only seeing 2 cores. But if I go ThinkPad, then obviously I get an overall temperature here on temp 1. So I'm just going to click show for this one. And you can now see that I've got a temperature showing here in my taskbar. I think I also might want to, well, for information kind of bring through, there's no need for that, is there? No, okay. So if I click onto view, then I can deselect show title. So it takes away where it said Census. Show the label, I think I will keep that one. But you can get rid of it if you wanted to, and it would just show you what that is there. But it's always nice to see the actual label. Your units is obviously Celsius, so you can take that on or off if you want to show Celsius or Fahrenheit there. If you go into miscellaneous, you don't really need to do anything here, but change the interval of which you want the sensor to update. So at the moment it's currently set to update every 1 minute. I don't like it doing that. I like it to update every 5 seconds. There we go. So click back into sensors. And what I will do now is relabel where it says temp 1. So just click once onto temp 1 and then I will give it a label of CPU. Okay, there we go. I am now all set with my desktop setup. I am very, very happy with what I'm seeing here in this Freespire 7.5. Using Ubuntu's 20.04 LTS and on XFCE 4.16. What else is there that I need to do? So we said we were going to install, of course, Microsoft Edge browser. So let me just bring up a browser here. Incidentally, if, like me, you don't like what you're seeing in terms of Firefox giving you the extra title bar at the top, if you want to rid that, you can just come down below that into the next sort of panel area here, right click and you go into Customize Toolbar and you just deselect where it says Title Bar. And that tip works for, well, anywhere you've got Firefox installed. And then you just click Done. And incidentally, it's worth pointing out that the setup of the panels within this distribution is just how I like it. So you've got the main global app menu as well in the top left-hand corner. So Firefox doesn't use menus, that's why it just says Firefox web browser. What I am going to do is just right-click on that. Yeah, see, now it just says Open New Window or Open New Private. Okay. In fact, let me go into the actual panel preference for that plugin. So if I just right click and go panel and panel preferences, under items, and under the app menu plugin, go into the properties for that there. And if I select use bold application name, that then puts the main application name in bold in the top left there. Perfect. I will find an application in a moment that has more menus available to you. In fact, I think you get it on the desktop, don't you? There we go. Yep, so as I've got OBS running, it's showing me that menu there. Excellent. Right, so I said I was going to install the Edge browser, so let's have a look at what we got. So we first of all need to go and just do a search for Edge Insider. And we go to Microsoft Edge Insider download. And this wasn't available last week, but is now. So you've got the option to download the dev branch, which is updated weekly, or you can now update every 6 weeks, so you can keep a kind of stable build of the browser, and download the beta. Now, the fact that they've enabled beta here on Linux now shows that they are getting really close now to launching it as a full, stable release. So I said I was going to do the beta. I've got dev running on my other installs, but here today in Freespire, as it's a kind of a nice, stable environment, I'm going to download the beta product. So for this one, we are going to choose download, and we are going to be downloading the .deb file. And we accept the terms and conditions of the download. Firefox is now offering me a chance to open it or save it. So I'm just going to save the file. And given the speed of my internet now, if I look at the Firefox download property, you can see that it has downloaded. And if I open up the folder, there's the file there. And if I do a right click and properties on that one, we can see that it's only a 95 megabyte file. Very small package indeed for such a awesome browser. So we have GDebi installed, so this should be a nice easy install for you. What I tend to do is, because I love Linux so much, is I tend to install .deb files using the terminal because I know how to do it. I'm not going to show you how to do that because the fact that you've got GDebi installed proves that you're going to get a nice easy installation for this one. So let's go with Microsoft Edge and just double click that. That then launches the archive manager. That will then, after it has been extracted, load up GDebi. Okay, so in this case it didn't. Let me just close that down. So I may need to just tell it where it's going to open up in terms of its default application. So if I did a right click on that file and choose open with, you can see we've got the open with GDebi package installer. So let's do that then. Now we're cooking. It's installing via the package installer. So that's now unpacking it. That's why everything is greyed out at the moment. And it looks like your machine has frozen. It's doing absolutely nothing. But believe me, it is. That's done it. It requires the installation of one package. It will be the Edge for Linux browser. And if we go into install package, that should be installing it. Or did that just disappear? It might have crashed on me actually. I'm just going to check under internet. No, it hasn't installed yet. Alright, let me just try that one more time. Wonder why that did crash. Interesting. Are you installing now? Or has it installed again? What's going on? Okay. Alright. Well, ladies and gents, that should be working properly through that. I don't know if it's a problem with the distribution or a problem with the .deb file. I'm just going to do it my way now, which is through a terminal. So if I do in the downloads file area, if I go right click and open terminal here. Let me just increase the view of that for you here so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm in the root of downloads, which is perfect. So I just want to do an ls on that one so I can see what files I have in my download area. So I'm just going to click and highlight this deb file here, and I'm going to let go and right click and copy. What I will do is that will copy the text. Clear that out. Staying in the root of downloads, I am now going to do a sudo, and I'm going to unpackage it using the Debian package manager. So dpkg-i, and then we do the name of the file. So Control Shift and V will then paste that in, or you can do a right click and paste. So now you can see we're going to run the package installation as a super user. Press enter, enter in our password, and that should now be unpacking. And if there is a problem, then I will revert to downloading the dev branch of their browser. Looks like that's installing okay. No errors found by the looks of things, which is a good sign. So now if I go into the menu and I go under Internet, there is our Edge browser. Beautiful. So I'm just going to right click and ask that now to add to panel. And that puts it, where do you want it? Panel 1 or panel 2? I think I'm panel 1, aren't I? Yeah, there it is. Let's put it down here in the bottom right. So I just need to move that now by going into the panel preferences. Under items, where my launcher is here, I'm going to move that up into my taskbar down here, where now I have Edge beta set as my first application showing in my quick launcher here. Right, so let's open that up quick. Oh, look at that. Don't know why I get so excited at seeing Edge load up in Linux. So many people are mocking Edge at the moment, and I just do not know why. I mean, seriously. Have you really used the latest version of the Edge browser within Windows 10? Have you? I dare you, challenge you to give Edge a try. Seriously, it has changed a great deal. And it's got synchronization. It will import from your Google Chrome if you've got favorites in there. The extensions, you can still download those from the Chrome Web Store and they work perfectly fine. It is just a great browser, I will say. Now, as I'm opening up the beta version here, do I want to help Microsoft improve the products by sending diagnostic data? That's a privacy thing to me. I'm going to say no, unfortunately, but I will accept and get started using the browser. And I'm going to go with the inspirational view. But of course, with information, you get the chance to see your shortcuts and some news appearing. Or you can get a focused view as well, where you get a nice picture and just a few of your apps appearing here. So I'm going to go with focused. And it's going to welcome me to the Microsoft Edge beta channel. I am very, very pleased to see this in beta this week. Well done, Microsoft. You're getting somewhere. I don't know how long it's been now since you've been in dev, so well over a year, I believe. So, yeah, it was long before lockdown, I can recall, because I was using dev at my workplace back in 2019. Yes, that long ago. So let's see it come through to fruition on Linux and become a full product. Let's help them that. Yeah, so download the beta, use it, try it. Give Microsoft their feedback. They need it. Trust me, they are doing a grand job trying to get this properly working on Linux. It took them a while to get the sync to work as well, synchronization, but they finally got that one working there. So here we have Edge installed. Excellent. So we took a look at all the other applications that we had in this release. And if you want to just take a look at how you install some software in here. So if I did type in software, I've got the Synaptic Package Manager. And you do need to log into that as your super user password, which I did authenticate. There we go. Different password for me on that one. Here we go. So if you want to search for a package, so I'm going to go with search, and if I wanted to search for Skype, I think is there. It should say Skype for Linux. But again, you might need to manually go and get Skype from the Microsoft website. But I'll tell you what isn't there is you will find Zoom. Which if you scroll down the big long list. Where are you? Oh, you got the Zoom player. Where's the Zoom client? Ah, I see another deb file that you got to manually install. What else can we find? So this is to do with the package manager. Actually, what package manager are we using here? I mean, we're using obviously Synaptic, but I mean, where are these packages? They're not Flatpak or Snaps, are they? Okay, Robin, think of something nice that you're going to use. So let me just do a search for LibreOffice. Actually, Probably won't find anything. Is there anything for LibreOffice? We haven't installed an Office suite yet, by the way. Oh, did I say LibreOffice GT? Okay, so the themes are there, but the actual application is not. Okay, well, Synaptic Package Manager is great if you know what you're doing with it. If you want to install actual software, I would probably suggest going down the Flatpak and Snap routes. So if I went to say flathub.org, and if I go to Quick Setup, you'll get some instructions on how you can set up Flatpak here. We're using an Ubuntu-based build, so I'm going to click into Ubuntu. And the first command we need to run is sudo apt install Flatpak. Let's bring up the terminal again. Oh, there it is. Sudo apt install Flatpak. Yes, indeed. And whilst it's doing that, I'm going to grab the repository. So we need to add that in. So sudo apt add repository command here. Just do a right click command and copy. If I do an Alt and Tab, I should be able to switch back to the terminal. And I'm going to do a right click and paste for this one. And press enter. I'm already logged in as my super user account, so I should be able to go straight through with this one. Press enter to continue. Now that's done, so I'm going to do a sudo apt update. There we go. 4 packages can be upgraded, so I'm just going to run a sudo apt upgrade. Say yes to those. Yes, it's installing Flatpak. That's done, so I'm going to do sudo apt install Flatpak again. Now it's got the refreshed version, and we're on the latest version, 1.11.1. So we've done option 1 of these commands here. So now we need to add in the software manager. So in this case, we are now going to install the Flatpak manager, where it will list out all of the software available to you in graphical user interface form. So I'm just going to do a right click and copy that highlighted line, come back into my terminal, right click and paste and enter. Do I want to install and continue? Yes. Then once that is done, all that next we need to do is add in this line for the Flatpak repository here, the FlatHub repository. Again, go into the terminal and right click and paste that in. Now that's done, and press enter. You don't need a sudo command for this one, because it will prompt you for your password. And that is done. So it says now next to restart your computer. It is advisable, but Flatpak is now installed, so I don't really need to do anything more with this now. But what I am going to do now is close down the terminal, and what we should get now, if I go into menu and under system or settings perhaps, where are you, software and updates. Now it's here where I pointed out earlier on about me on my production machine downloading additional drivers for my NVIDIA card. So it's here where under software and updates I can click on additional drivers. It will go off and search for those, and then offer me out the NVIDIA 460 driver to download and install. Don't need any additional drivers on my Intel based laptop here, so that's absolutely fine. I'm just going to close that one out there, because I did actually select the wrong software. So I'm actually going to search now for software. There we go. So it's software, not software and updates. So here now we've got what looks like the GNOME App Store. So let's go shopping. And it'll be here that I can search for some useful applications I use on a daily basis. And that's just refreshing for the very first time. It won't be this slow on next load. But whilst it's doing that, I shall just do a quick check on the old tubes. We're doing all right. Yep, stream health, good. Okay, so our software store, if you like to call it, is now loaded. So it is now just a case of doing a search for your favorite applications. So the first one I'm going to look for is Discord. Did I click into there? There it is. No. Why didn't that do it? There we go. There's my Discord. And I click install. Enter in my password. Which is my administrator password. And we are nearly there. We'll just let that finish. And whilst that's doing that, I'm going to search for another application. So just click back. Discord Canary. That must be like a beta version of that. I'll check that out later in the week. My next application, so let's just say I like to use Telegram. There we go. The Telegram desktop should be in there, but I may have to scroll down a bit for this one. There it is, Telegram desktop. I don't know why that didn't appear top of my search results there. And whilst that is going ahead and installing, I can search for more applications. So my next one would be the old Spotify. There we go. And Spotify has appeared top of my list. So click install again for that one now. So incidentally, I am now installing these applications through FlatHub. So I could, if I wanted to, go into a terminal and just type in sudo flatpak install and then the name of the package. Or I could come here to the software center and actually download it properly through a searchable GUI, which is what I'm seeing here now. So click in launch. We should see that perfectly fine. There we go. Spotify is there and loaded. Excellent. And I like to listen to the radio, so I go to download shortwave. This one's got 5 stars over this one. Okay, so what is the difference between these two apart from the rating? So this one's got 5 out of 5. So if I click into it, if I scroll down, this is the Flatpak version, I can tell because it's from FlatHub. What's the difference on this one? This is the Snap version. So it's got 18 reviews. So Snap or FlatHub, which do you reckon is going to be more stable? Well, this one's got more reviews and more likes. And I like Flatpaks anyway, so I'm going to choose this installation here. And then I am done in terms of my play and install. So next I need to use the distribution for a bit and see if I come across any problems. And that's taken a while to install. I think that's unpacking the Git from the repositories at the moment. So if we look at installed, there is one update. Shortwave is being installed right now, or has installed. Okay. And now if I click into there and click launch, could be the machine is running a bit on the slow side. I'm noticing the CPU is now upping in temperature a bit there, so it could be the laptop is now working a bit overtime. Let's click launch. Yep, there we go. That's launched fine. I'll give you a quick blast of this. There you go. That works perfectly. Let's see if the dark mode works. So preferences, and we're going to dark mode. Yeah, that works brilliant. Keep it at that. So there you have it. Oh, so we haven't installed Office yet, have we? So we will now have to do a manual install for that one. So for this, we will have to go to the LibreOffice website. There we go. If we click into download, and we'll look at 7.1.3, which is what they're on now. We want the deb file, so we click into here and click download. And we want the deb tar file, so we're going to save that file. Once that has downloaded, I should be able to extract that tar file. So right click and extract here. And if I go into that folder, it looks empty. Did you not extract properly? Oh, there it is. Right. Extract into downloads. Show my files. No, it didn't work. Ah, there we go. Right, so let's rid this one here. Yes to all. Wonder why that. Maybe it thinks it's in use. Okay, we'll rid that after a reboot. So we're going to the LibreOffice deb folder area here, and we're going to debs. And here are all of the required packages for LibreOffice. That includes Calc, Draw, and your writer software. So we just do a right click and go into Open Terminal here. And what I now need to do is get let's open this up a bit more so you can see what I'm doing. And if I grab this out a bit more, I don't want to list out the files, but I do know what command I need. So we're going to have to run this as a super user, so we need sudo for this one. We're going to also run the dpkg for this one, -I again to do the installation. And because we are in the root of where the debs are, you're not installing one package, you're installing multiple packages. So for this one, you will need to do a star.deb. So you're saying install all the debs in this folder, please. And that will go and unpack LibreOffice 7.1.3 for us. And there we have it. Exit that terminal. And I'm going to close down some windows now. And if I go into menu and under Office, we should now have the LibreOffice 7.1 suite here. Excellent. So there we have it. I have an Office suite. I just now need to go offline and install some more packages, and I am done. So this has been Freespire 7.5 using the XFCE 4.16 desktop. And we are now on the LTS Ubuntu branch of Xubuntu 20.04, which is a good thing to see. So thank you very much indeed for joining us here today for this live walkthrough. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. You can comment as well. Follow us and subscribe on Discord as well. We've got a Discord server where you can join us. Just follow Digital Robin there. There'll be an invite link in my YouTube channel there. Just have a look around for that one there. And I'll catch you again in a future episode of Big Daddy Linux Live. And as usual, the Sunday afternoon clutch catch-up with Steve and the gang. So until next time we meet, have yourselves a great weekend. And we'll be back soon with another Friday Night Linux Live. Take care now.